So I'm sure a lot of you are keen on starting a new Elden Ring playthrough before Shadow of the Erdtree, or how you may have already started. And today I wanted to run you guys through how you can become completely overpowered within the first 60 to 90 minutes of a completely new build that'll set you up super well for Shadow of the Erdtree and just the rest of your playthrough in general. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can very easily get the Bloodhound's Fang Greatsword with the Bloodflame buff, as well as leveling it to Somber 4. We'll also get Radagon's Soreseal, which will massively increase your stats, over 100,000 runes, and like I said, you can do all of this in around 60 to 90 minutes with barely any fighting required either. So without wasting any time, let's get stuck right into it. So from the get-go, you want to start a new build as a samurai to get 15 dex, which you'll need to wield the Bloodhound's Fang. But keep in mind, you can do this if you already have a playthrough started. Ironically, for the sake of this video, I was already about level 20 something and didn't pick the samurai. So yeah, don't worry if you guys have already started, but if you want to start brand new, definitely pick the samurai and choose the golden seed keepsake. Now you want to just progress through the tutorial until you make it to the first step side of grace, which is where you open up the doors to Limgrave, and this is where we're going to start. So again, if you already had a playthrough started, you can just feel free to start from here. Now firstly, we want to head straight to the church that you can see right in front of you, avoiding the tree sentinel obviously. Now I had already picked it up, but right at the front here there will be a golden rune. Just pick that up and then touch the side of grace in the church, and from there go and talk to Kale. You want to sell the golden rune to him and then buy the crafting kit with the money that you made. From here, we just want to head then to the gatefront side of grace, which isn't too far away. You just pretty much head left out of the church and follow that road and you will find it easy as. And then once you're here, you just want to talk to Malina and she will give you Torrent, who is your spectral steed, which will make this process a hell of a lot faster. Now, right down from this side of grace, you can then find this little underground room, which has a chest. You just want to grab the whetstone knife and then head out and jump back on Torrent. You may as well just grab that on the way and then continue along the same road. Now along this road, we want to eventually get to this bridge, and once you cross the bridge, you just want to turn right as soon as you cross it. You want to grab this somber smithing stone 1, and then if you turn left and head across the road over here, up on the hill there is a gold pickled fellfoot, which will come in handy once we want some runes later on. From here, just head back down the road and to the left and follow it all the way down here until you find the Agil Lake side of grace. Just make sure to touch that now, as we will get that ready for one of the latest steps. Now from that side of grace, you just want to head all the way back to where you came from until that bridge that we crossed earlier, but then we're just going to keep going and head all the way down this road to the third Church of Marika, which is just found as you follow that road in the other direction. It is impossible to miss, so head to that church. Once you're in there, you can also find some goodies, so be sure to not miss those, and then just touch the side of grace to save that for later. Once you've done that, you want to head back out of the church and head left, and you just want to head along this road for two reasons. One, there is a map fragment up here that you can find to make it a little bit easier to see the map, so grab that if you can be bothered. But then we also need to get close enough to this ruin over here where you'll hear a wolf howling. Even if you hear it in the distance, you do need to make sure that you're getting close to that ruin. So just ride over there, and then once you feel like you're close enough, just head back to the church side of grace that we just got to earlier. Now, once you're back at the church, you just want to head out the front and then turn right. And out the back here, there's actually a teleporter that you'll need to use, and this is going to take you to Kale. So be careful in this area and try not to fight any enemies, as it is very, very hard in this part of the map. Once you are here, you want to head down this hill here, picking up the golden seed on your way, and then touch the side of grace that's down here next to the bridge, just so you've got a bit of a fallback, and we are going to potentially need that later on too. From there, you then want to just cross the bridge with the dragon guarding it. Now don't worry, he won't damage you if you just ride straight past him. He's not going to deal any damage, and you just want to continue on down this path to the right, heading around in this direction around the back of this minor Erdtree until you find the spirit spring. You just need to jump up onto this top section, and this is where we can find Fort Faroth. Touch the side of grace out the front, as we'll need that to pretty much respawn here in just a second. Now from here, we want to head into the fort. You just want to run past all of these enemies, and then up this ladder you can find the Dectus medallion, the right one. This isn't really required for this video, but it'll just help you later on in the game using the Grand Dectus lift. But like I said, it's not really important for this video. From here though, you want to then also grab Radagon's Soreseal, and so just follow this path that I'm showing. You want to head down into this little underground section, follow this path and just head straight past the rats. Make sure they don't attack you, because they deal a crazy amount of damage. And then once you drop down here, you'll get the Soreseal, and then you can just die to the rats because you probably won't beat them, and you will just just respawn outside anyway. Now, once you've respawned outside, you want to head back to Kale at that very first church you went to. Now, when you get there, if you're on a new playthrough, Rene will actually show up just to your right, and if you go and talk to her, she will allow you to use the spirit ashes, so you may as well just go and talk to her and get through that dialogue. And then once that's done, you want to go back to Kale, and because of the Howling Wolf that I talked about earlier, you'll have a dialogue option in regards to that, so just start that dialogue and just get through all of that, and that will essentially start the Blaidd questline. Now, from here, we want to then fast travel back to the third Church of Marika, and again head back to that ruin where the Howling Wolf was, the Howling Wolf being Blaidd. Once you get to this area right here, which is pretty much the first place you'll get to at the ruin, you'll just want to press start and go to the gestures over here and do the finger snap, which will summon Blaidd. And you just want to exhaust all dialogue with him. Double check you've finished all of it by just constantly talking to him until he pretty much repeats the same thing every single time, and that's when you'll know that all of his dialogue is exhausted. Now, after that, we want to then head back to the Agil Lake Grey site that I mentioned earlier on in the video, and once you're there, just head on up the hill behind you that'll get you to this Everjailer here. Now, you want to enter that and you will see a golden message on the ground. If you head over to that, you will now be able to summon Blaidd, and he will actually fight this enemy with you. He makes this fight super easy. It's pretty much just him doing most of the work, so don't worry about, you know, this being a tough fight. It is a pretty tough fight if you do it by yourself, but Blaidd will make it a lot easier. And like I said, be sure to equip that source seal that we got earlier, because that will actually increase your own stats a little bit too. Now, once you and Blaidd beat Darrowil, you will get the Bloodhound's Fang Greatsword, and after that, if you go and talk to Blaidd again, he will give you a somber smithing stone too as well. Now, don't worry if your stats aren't good enough yet to properly wield the new sword. We're now going to work on leveling it up, as well as getting our own stats buffed too. Now, before we get to that section of the video, if this has helped you guys out so far and you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. There is going to be plenty more content like this, both in the lead up to Shadow of the Erdtree and plenty more afterwards too, so make sure you don't miss out. So anyway, now that we've got our weapon, we want to upgrade it as much as possible in as little time as possible. We are going to need about 100,000 runes to do this, which will take a little bit of a grind, but with a few methods it won't take as long as you're expecting. But I'll get to those after a few more steps, just so that we don't accidentally die and lose all of those runes. In the meantime though, we will need to get to Liurnia Lakes, which will require one of two things. You'll either need to beat Margit and Godric if you've done so already, or you can just take the Stormveil bypass and get around the back of the castle if you haven't already beaten those two bosses. If you haven't beaten the bosses, you just want to head to the gatefront side of Grace that we got Torrent at, and from there just jump on Torrent and head up along this main path, running past all of the enemies. There's going to be a lot of people along here that will try and attack you, but you can easily ride past all of them. And once we get to this section up here, instead of turning left where you would normally head into the Margit fight, you just want to keep going forward, and this will take you on the shortcut around the back of Stormveil. Head to the end of this broken bridge and then head down and to the left, and then just head up through this little passageway. It is impossible to get lost once you're on this path, and eventually you'll make it to this side of Grace. Be sure to touch that, as that is going to be very handy later on. Now, from here, you just want to follow down this path until you pass through this enemy camp, and then from here you'll get down to the lake, touch this side of Grace, and then continue along the path through the swamp area. Now, there are a lot of annoying enemies here, so just be sure to watch out. And unfortunately, there are 3 that are actually guarding this map fragment. You will kind of need to get that map fragment, so you can usually just get it while you're on the back of Torrent, but yeah, just keep in mind they are a little bit annoying. Sometimes you can just draw them away from it a little bit and then go and grab it, and then once you've grabbed that, a little bit further up that path there is another side of Grace. Touch that, and then you just want to head due north, sort of in the direction of the massive castle off in the distance, until you get to the Academy Gate Town, where these sort of flooded buildings are, and there's another side of Grace here as well as another map fragment. Be sure to grab that, as you're going to kind of need that to see where we need to go. And once you have got that, it is as simple as heading due west to this area on the map. There's a little church here where I put the first marker, and then where I've put this second marker is where you'll find what we're looking for. But as far as I know, you actually need to go through the church ruins. So head on over here, like I said, go through the ruins, and then out on the other side you'll find a scarab here, and if you kill that, it will give you the Bloodflame Blaidd spell, which is absolutely amazing, and it's going to make that weapon we just got earlier even better. Now, from here you then want to head up to the sort of northwest over to this area of the map. You won't have it unlocked yet, don't worry, there is a map fragment along the way, and it is pretty hard to miss. You just want to kind of head in that direction until you get out of the lake eventually, and you will be back on solid ground. There are a few sites of Grace along the way and another map fragment, like I said, if you need it, but regardless, just keep following this road along. You will eventually go through another enemy camp and then down through this area with the angled stones. keep on going until you get to these ruins here. And once you get to what seems like a wall blocking your way, if you actually just attack it, it will disappear, and this is where you need to be. To your right there is another site of grace, and then to your left is Iji, who we will need to talk to later, but first we now need to farm some runes like I mentioned earlier on. Now there is one super boring way to do this, which will take about 30 minutes of literally just hitting the attack button, and then another that takes about 15 minutes. So I'll quickly run through both of them and you can pick and choose which one works best for you guys. The 30-minute method is to head back to Fort Faroth that we're at earlier, and then down here there's actually a massive dragon. It looks just like it's part of the map, but this is actually a dragon, and you can attack it without it ever attacking you if you attack it from the back here. It will take a long time to kill this, so just bear that in mind. But once you kill it, it will reward you with 60,000 runes. But if you guys use that gold pickled foulfoot that we got earlier, which if you guys don't know how to use those, you just equip it the same way as your flasks, and then you can just use it that way right as you kill the enemy, and it will actually give you a 30% increase in the amount of runes you get, taking it to nearly 100,000 runes for killing this dragon. Now, like I said, keep in mind this is boring as fuck, and it does take about 30 minutes, so be warned. But I threw this one in here simply because you've already been to this side of grace, so in the context of this video, it is probably easier to do this one than the method I'm about to mention. Now, the other method is quicker, but it will require you to get to a new area. So you'll want to fast travel back to the side of grace that we got to in Kale called the Faroth Great Bridge, right near the bridge with the dragon. Now, from there, you want to just head behind you and up along this ridgeline until you get to a road on the other side of this little cliff area, and then just head down that road along this shorter bridge until you get to this side of grace called Lenna's Rise. Now, the rune farm is as simple as this. Ride a torrent down this hill to the right here, and eventually you will see something spawn behind you. You just want to turn back and sort of go near the cliff, but make sure the thing doesn't hit you. It'll simply roll off the edge and die, and you'll get just under 2,000 runes each time, and that is literally it. You just fast travel back up to the hill at Lenna's Rise. That'll then respawn the enemy, and then rinse and repeat. That'll give you about 6k runes per minute. It's roughly 20 seconds to do it each time, and that will mean it'll take about 16 or 17 minutes to get about 100,000 runes. And obviously, if you guys want to do this for even longer, then feel free. You can make roughly 350,000 runes per hour. And if you guys get lost at all doing this, I've got a full video on the channel, which is actually my last video that I uploaded, if you guys do need more details on that method. Now, regardless of which method you choose, you'll just need anything close to about 100k runes to level up a bit and sort of tie this OP build together. Once you've got the runes, you just fast travel back to EG, and from here, you want to buy the Somber Stone 3 and 4, and then you want to ask him to strengthen your armaments and level up the Bloodhound's Fang 4 times, since we now have the Somber Stones 1 through 4, and because we have 100,000 runes, we have more than enough runes to pay for it. Once you've done that, you want to head to the site of grace, and we are now going to level up. Now, you can pretty much increase whatever you want. It obviously depends on how you want to play the game, but you'll just need to make sure that your dex is at least 17, your faith is 12, and your arcane is 10, and then after that, pretty much just spend whatever you want on whatever other stat you want. I would recommend pretty much putting all of it on vigor, because the more health you have, the better, but even a bit on strength as well if you want to. You just need to make sure that dex, faith, and arcane are what you guys can see on screen here. Now, once you've done that, there is only one more thing we need, which is a finger seal to actually use the Bloodflame spell that we got earlier. So what you'll need to do at the site of grace is just talk to Melina and tell her you want to go to the Round Table Hold, or if you've already been, just fast travel back to that via the map. Once you're here, head to the left and head into this room and talk to the Twin Maiden Husks, and from them you can buy the finger seal for 800 runes. We now have everything we need and are officially overpowered within, like I said, 60 to 90 minutes of playtime. So the last step is realistically for me to just tell you guys how to equip all of this stuff. What you want to do is equip the finger seal that you just bought in your left hand, and then the Bloodhound's Fang in your right hand. And like I said, the Radagon Saw Seal that we got earlier, if you equip that as a talisman, that is going to really boost your stats as well. Now, once you've got the finger seal equipped, you then want to go to a site of grace. You want to memorize a spell and equip the Bloodflame Blaidd, which will tie it to your finger seal. Then, as long as you have your sword equipped and your finger seal, if you press L1 or LB on your controller, it'll do this animation here, lighting the blade and giving it a really good buff for a period of time. What's even better though is that once you have got the Bloodflame activated, you can actually hold Y or triangle and then press R1 or RB to actually two-hand the Bloodhound's Fang, as this will deal more damage than just one-handing it. And so when it it is two-handed with the Bloodflame activated, this is when you're going to absolutely tear through enemies without any trouble at all. You guys are going to be within 60 minutes of the game. You could probably go and fight Margit and you will literally kill him in 6 or 7 hits. This thing is absolutely mental, and it does actually scale really well throughout the game too, so this build is actually really good later in the game as well. So that is a definitive guide on how to become super OP early in Elden Ring. This is going to help you guys a lot at getting prepared for Shadow of the Erdtree, whether it is for the actual DLC itself or even just getting to that point in the game, killing Radahn and Mohg to actually enter the DLC. If you guys enjoyed the video and you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Like I said, there is going to be plenty more content like this on the way, focused on Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree. So make sure you don't miss out. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.